Young men, if there is one thing that stunted my growth severely when I was back in my 20s and that, it was fear. It was fear and being afraid of stuff. And there was a thing that I would tell my children once I got beyond that, because eventually I did get beyond that. And I'm going to tell you how in a minute here. But there was one thing that I would tell my son and my daughter all the time that I want to share with you on this video today to help you guys get beyond that thing that stunts a lot of growth with you, and that's fear and being afraid. All right, so that's what we're going to talk about on the channel today. Listen, I am the Over 50 Guy / the Online Dad. On this channel, I give young men practical advice and tips based on 55 years of living, of trying stuff, failing, succeeding, starting over, all of that stuff, all of the stuff that you're going through today. It's a good chance that I've already seen it. So I give you guys tips and advice on those things so that you can avoid a lot of the pitfalls and a lot of the crazy that I had to go through, so that when you get older, you can have resources and options to be able to live the type of life that you really want to live. Okay? So fear and being afraid. Guys, as long as I can remember, I've struggled with this thing. A lot of that has to do with childhood stuff and not having, a whole lot of confidence or a whole lot of self-esteem. But that's a video for another day. I used to get bullied a lot. Bullied in grade school and a little bit of junior high. The bullying was severe. I hear kids talk about bullying today online, and I'm like, yeah, you guys, if you guys have a problem with that, you would have really had a problem with the up close, right in your face type of bullying that we experienced when I was younger, right? So I experienced a lot of that. And you know what, guys? I could have stopped a lot of that early on, but I was afraid. I was afraid. And listen, here's the thing that you have to know about fear. Fear is a normal, healthy emotion. You should be afraid. Fear was put in place so that you wouldn't walk into the hungry lion's mouth, or you wouldn't pet the poisonous snake that can bite you and kill you. You're supposed to have fear. Fear is what keeps you from doing things that can kill you, right? So it's a normal emotion. But the reality of it is people are not experiencing that's not the type of fear that I am talking about in this case, right? So the bullying that I could have stood up to, that wouldn't have killed me, right? But I was acting as if it would. I thought in my head that it would, right? There was a guy that I went to grade school and junior high with. I hope he doesn't mind me mentioning his name. Great guy, never had any problems, always just a good dude. His name was Walden Wilson. And Walden, back in grade school, fam, he was a slim dude. Walden probably weighed maybe less than 100 pounds. Just real thin, frail type of guy. And they would bully Walden. And the difference between me and Walden is that they would start in on me, and I would just kind of sit there like kind of frozen in fear, not knowing what to do. They would do that shit to Walden. And it would be 4 or 5 people doing the bullying in the back of the bus. And Walden would get up after a while, and he would run back there, and he would jump in the Walden would jump in the pile and start swinging. Now, more times than many, Walden got his ass handed to him. But I was always envious of him in the sense that he just wasn't afraid to go back there and confront this thing. And I always had that fear, and that stayed with me for the better part of my life until I started working construction with my father. And once I started working construction with my father, what I figured out and what I want to share with you guys today is simply this. It is perfectly okay to be afraid. That is a normal emotion, right? The problem comes in when you allow that fear to stop you from doing something that you know you need to do, right? See, back when I was in grade school, I didn't know that, it's okay to be afraid, but you need to go back there and confront that anyway. Even if it meant getting, your ass beat. Your self-esteem should have gotten you up to make you go back there and stand up for yourself. And I didn't know that at the time, but I know that now. And that's what I instill in my children. That's what I instilled in my children when they were younger, that it is perfectly okay to be afraid and to be fearful, but it cannot allow you to stop doing what you know you need to do. And there's many of you young men out here today that are just like that. It may not be bullying. It may be something that you need to do as far as improving your health. It may be something you need to do as far as, improving your financial status, going out and getting a job or to a gym, getting your health better, speaking to women. I mean, all of this stuff, and you don't do it because you're afraid. You're afraid of what they're going to think. You're afraid of what they're going to say. You're afraid of if you fail. Those things will keep you locked. And at the end of the day, man, you have to do it anyway. Mike Tyson would say, and Mike Tyson, baddest boxer in the world in his prime. But you know what Mike Tyson would say? Mike Tyson would say that on my way to the ring, I would be terrified. He said this. This is on YouTube somewhere or some video. Mike would say that I was terrified until that bell rung. And it was time to do what it is that he had to do. And all the fear would leave him. So guys, you just got to do it anyway. You have to do it scared. You have to do it scared. And here's the beauty. And here's what I found out later in life that I wish I knew earlier in life. On the other side of that thing that you are afraid of doing, on the other side of that is, you know what? This ain't so bad. This ain't nearly as bad as I thought. And now you can do it again. And now the next thing, you don't have the fear or as much fear because, you know what, I had this before and I tried this thing. On the other side of that fear is learning how to do a thing, becoming competent at it, becoming a master at that thing. That is on the other side of the fear that you never get to. That you never get to if you let the fear stop you from doing what it is that you need to do. Oftentimes, I think that somewhere, and I could be totally wrong. I've never asked Walden about this, but somewhere in my own mind is the thought that, you know what, the very first time Walden went back there and went to war with them cats and he came out, maybe it was like, you know what, that wasn't so bad. Yeah, I'm do that all the time now. I'm wondering if that was the thought with him, right? That at some point he figured that, yeah, that didn't kill me. Fuck it. I'll talk shit to me again. Right? That he took the step, guys, he took the step beyond fear. And that's the beauty of it, that once you go beyond it, because we've already established that the majority of the fear that you have over stuff isn't being eaten by a lion. It ain't that serious. It ain't that it's not at that level. But that's what we do in our minds. We turn it into this thing where it becomes so paralyzing that you can't go by it. You can't get beyond it. There's plenty of you young men right now that should be going for bigger and better things in your life. You should be applying for that job. You should be getting your body in shape. You shouldn't have all the social anxiety and the fear that you have, but you have it because you haven't stepped over the other side. And here's another thing that you guys have that we didn't have when I was coming up. You have the ability now to cut your fear down by learning and researching more about the thing that you are afraid of. You can go to Google or YouTube. You can go to TikTok, and there are hundreds of videos, right, about the very thing that you're afraid of, telling you how you can do it better and some things that you can learn about it to cut your fear. We had none of that. We had none of that. And here's the thing, too. Even if you have that, it is still you that has to walk on the other side of that. It is still you that has to do it, even though you're afraid, right? If I would have had this mentality, young men, when I was in high school or even junior high, I could have been an excellent student, could have had, academic scholarships. I would have been a great athlete. I was afraid in class, I was afraid to raise my hand and, repeatedly to tell this teacher, I don't get it, because I was afraid of people laughing at me thinking that I was dumb or whatever. I was afraid at football practice to tell the coach that, I don't know how to tackle right. I don't know how to do this right. So can you show me? I was afraid that people would think that I didn't know what I was doing, or I was soft, or I was a punk, or all of this stuff. My dad would say, because, at some point he found out about the whole bullying thing. And my dad, country dude, what you do is you wait around the corner and you pick up a brick. And when you see him coming, and it was like, yeah, if I could have done that, I would have done that a long time ago, man. If I'm afraid to actually turn around and confront him, then picking up a brick and going to, and I understand what he was saying. But what he didn't understand was that I didn't know how to go beyond the fear. And just picking up, if I could have done that, Dad, I would have done that a long time ago. What I needed to hear from my father is, I know you're scared. I know you're scared. And it's perfectly okay to be. But you got to do this anyway. And on the other side of this, what you're going to see is you're going to feel much better about standing up for yourself, doing things that are hard, doing things that you're afraid of, because you've already done it. And it won't scare you as much. But as long as you stay on this side of it, you're going to be terrified, and you will never know how to walk on the other side of your fear. You would never know how to do it even though you're scared. So young man, that is the whole gist of the video. Just really impressing upon you guys how it's okay. It's just okay, man, to be afraid of doing things. But what's not okay is for you to allow that fear to keep you from doing it, to keep you from doing a thing. So you just have to make the decision that I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it even if I'm scared. It doesn't matter. I'm going to do it anyway. I guarantee you guys, if you start operating like that, fear won't stop you like it stopped me in my 20s. Okay? So listen, that is all I have for you guys. I'm sweating to death in this truck. Please forgive the waterworks here. But that is all I have for today. Guys, tap in with me. I am running a special now where I'm giving a free 30-minute strategy call, where if you guys are having some issues or problems with a particular thing, you can tap in with me and I can try to help you out with that. I got other resources that'll be in the video description as well. But tap in. I would love to talk to you guys to see if there's a thing that I'll be able to help you with. Okay? So listen, I am the Over 50 Guy / the Online Dad. We'll be back with another one soon.